Welcome back to another episode of my trading vlog, where most of the views come from returning subscribers. If that's you, I'd appreciate the like. If not, consider subscribing. I got a lot to go through today. I don't think I'm going to get through it all. I'm not even going to try. We're just going to go hit AMC, GameStop, and then we'll hit Apple and Amazon, of course. Take a peek at Tesla, Nvidia. Maybe we'll go look at QQQ. I don't know. Here we go. Let's just start here. We've got a big sideways grind in AMC. Until we get above 508 or below 469, nothing to report. Guess what Wave B does? Wave B extends, and sometimes it extends sideways. So painful grind sideways in AMC. Of course, the bigger analysis is sideways through a tall trading range. Right now, we're going sideways in a teeny trading range, but that'll turn into a large trading range. But let's just move on. GameStop reached the target at 2086 as supposed. And, you know, in the past, I was even saying we could reach 2086 and then come up here to get 2551. 2551 being the most important bullish critical support level on the chart I have so far. And, well, today we actually started bouncing up, which was something I was saying yesterday. We can look forward to a little corrective bounce. We're starting to see that come up. We haven't hit bullish reversal yet, but we have definitely started a corrective trend. If we get an extension downward, we're shooting for 1975. So watch 2075 with a lot of scrutiny right now. It's possible that price spins, comes back and forth around that level a couple of times before picking a lane, you know, bullish or bearish. We're going to keep a close eye here, but we did get the little bounce right at that target. Targets reached on GameStop, always. Great thing to have. I've been hitting targets on GameStop for a long time and very consistently, even if the wave pattern's been a little ambiguous. Let's go ahead and move on. What else did I say we're gonna look at? Let's look at Amazon, because Amazon had earnings and boom, big pop up. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Amazon could pop up a lot higher and still be in a topping pattern. And so I'm not even gonna think bullishly. That's pretty impressive though. That's pretty impressive. Now we've seen a lot of these earning flags around. They don't all come out that great. They don't. There's only a 60% chance that these flags pop out to the upside, per Bulkowski's chart pattern analysis on the patternsite.com. And so I don't really trade these. I really don't. I see this, I go, great, good for you, excellent, yay, moving on. Let's go look at Nvidia, because there was a big earnings flag here on Nvidia, and we've recently started to come into a top, which I've been calling. We found support at the bearish continuation level, which is pretty common. This just means that we're in a corrective trend right now, watching the price grind sideways. We're going to wait for a bigger move. There might even be a few reactionary trends. Look for 5 of them in case we form a triangle right there. In fact, what I see personally developing is perhaps a zigzag. We could see 454 tested before we head lower. Choppy, but I think we found the top here and we'll be going backwards. I was talking to a friend and it's like, yeah, Nvidia is a great company, and you know, there's no doubt that they're going to be a part of the economy for a long, long time. But you know, the reality is that economic headwinds, you know, they can bring everything down. Just because we can do something, like we have the technology, oh look, we've discovered all this new stuff, but it's like, what if there's not the money or the demand to drive that innovation anymore? You know, that's like a very bull market thing. There's a good thing, invest in it because they'll take off. That's a very bull market, and I don't know if that paradigm is going to hold out much longer. Let's go to Tesla. We've been looking at a top through here, of course. It's the most confusing top you could ever believe. Go watch my video called, I called it Fake Technical Analysis Exposed or something like that. I was just getting, the thing I was communicating was that there's a lot of potential topping patterns, but if you don't know the Elliott wave analysis, that it's hard to use the chart pattern analysis effectively. And so I've gone ahead and I've made that video to help you figure out where you're actually looking at a head and shoulder top, for instance. Back here, this was not a head and shoulder top. This is a busted head and shoulder top. Anyway, we have moved through a triangle through here, very expected in wave B. As I've been saying, B likes to extend sideways, and sometimes it even sets new lows, which is always irritating. Here it looks like we're looking at points A, B, C, D. No, this triangle probably starts right here. This is probably A, B, C, D, and E, where we get the little overthrow past the AC trend line, which is the lower trend line here, and we're coming back up pretty sharply. Going into the minute time frame, let's see. It looks like we could easily be coming down out of there. Very possible. If this is a C wave and it looks like this, that's not what you want to see, not really. In fact, maybe this is even it. Perhaps there's an overthrow here at the top a couple of different times as the bulls try to take control of the price. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes you get these breakouts one direction and then the price just flips around and boom, it goes the other way. What are you going to do? You've just got to roll with the punches, as they say. Let's go take a look at Apple reporting earnings. Yikes, that was a pretty big reaction. This was before earnings. We had this run up at about 1.5%. Of course, now the stock has dropped around 3.5% from that peak. Pretty brutal. That's a big sell-off. And of course, this is going to have an impact on QQQ, which we'll go take a peek at really quick. I'm now short on the tech sector via another bearish ETF. Boof, look at that. This would be a double top confirmation passing through there on the daily time frame. Looking very toppy, very, very toppy. In fact, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to say that this is probably some sort of rising diagonal through here at the end of a motive wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. Interesting. I need to look at this chart a little bit more. I haven't done analysis on QQQ in a while. We have a target at 398. I think this is the first target we're not going to reach, at least immediately. It's going to take a while. The RSI here is still above 50, but just like barely. QQQ could flip pretty bearish. Now, the ETF that I'm long in is TECS. This is, I haven't really looked into it a whole lot. I saw the chart and Jeff Joe suggested that I take a look at it. So I did, and I said, hey, this looks like SPXU, which, as you know, I went long on a couple days ago, which of course means that I'm in the green there on that contract as well, which is nice, really nice. I was up like 25 or 29% since I opened it. It's fantastic. And what that does is that helps me balance the cost of the bid-ask spread on this contract that I just opened. Again, here we are. We're seeing ourselves coming out of just the most divergent chart ever, bullishly divergent chart. Let's go hit SPXU really quickly, and you can see where we're at here. Big pop up. In fact, maybe I even opened up a candle chart. Yes, right on the day, but what's important is we've got a higher high and a bounce within the prior candle's range. This is telling me that we've found ourselves in a motive trend. We're pushing higher. This is probably a breakaway gap. This was an area gap. This is good. If I were to get 2 successive gaps there, I wouldn't be very happy. What I want to see is a breakaway gap and then continuation from there on out. I want to see one more big green day during market hours, and then if we gap up again, then we'll call that a continuation gap. But I want to see a couple days of sturdy run through here before we see too many gaps forming. If we look at the 1 hour chart, we can kind of start to see what looks like a bull flag. Going from the line chart really quickly. It's looking good. In fact, it looks like it's going up right now, which is fantastic. I am very happy with that purchase. I want to do one of those things that everybody else likes to do on YouTube, where you take one part of a chart and you compare it to another part of the chart. And typically this really irritates me because all that does is demonstrate that, yes, there are kind of known patterns that repeat themselves, but just because you have one thing repeating or looks... All right, let's talk about SPY, the minute chart and the daily chart. I was just looking at the charts and I said to myself, wow, this looks spectacularly familiar. And I'm not a huge fan of taking one part of the chart and dragging it over and superimposing it on the current chart, or trying to say that because this happened back then, it'll happen again just like this in the future. But in Elliott wave theory, we have a lot of known patterns, a lot of different corrective forms, and they can actually fractal. It's weird, but mathematically, every once in a while, you're going to hit repeat. It's not like always, and it is rare. But I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. I couldn't help but see two things that looked very similar. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom in to the minute chart a little bit here, okay? And I think these two charts look spectacularly similar, where we've had an A, B, and C wave coming down in 3 waves, such as here, and then a bounce, all right? We got the big bounce, and then we had this weird double bottom. It's not a double bottom. It's kind of like a diamond through the middle of this big rally, and that's kind of what I see here too. So we had A, B, and C come through very similar, in a very similar way. In fact, maybe even now, there you go. We get a few successive lows, and then we come into a big rally. It tops out, but then look what the minute chart does, and this is what's really interesting, is it plummets, right? This actually looks a lot like what I would expect SPY to do on the daily time frame too, where we get a couple of really sharp sell-offs and maybe we even come back up and test that most recent high before heading down and grinding sideways. And this would give neither the bulls nor the bears really anywhere to go. It would just be a mess. You can see now SPY and after hours are starting to come down. Amazon earnings came out great and that pumped up the stock market a little bit, and now Apple came in not so great, coming back down. Go figure. It's just a mess out there. It's wild. Whiplash. It's bullish. It's bearish. It's bullish. It's bearish. Of course, in the longer term, I'm always bearish. And I was able to correctly forecast this reversal. I actually called this the everything rally way back here. And around here, I got bearish again. And I stopped out as we broke this high. Which one's the daily chart? The one on the right. 416 or 418, 420-ish. Around here, I flipped back bullish because, boom, we did head higher. So, the everything rally came in just as expected. And now we've called the top, and it's turning around now. So I'm looking for more downside to SPY for the long term, and that's why I'm short. Okay, now I'm going to stitch together the rest of the video. Let's go to PLBY before we end it out. PLBY is coming down, and I'm supposing that we could be extending sideways now. I'm not going to have a new count here for a while because we've established a big ABC back and forth, and we're just grinding around, spinning on 186, which is still a very important level. I've been taking profits and reallocating some cash in my account, so here I'm not as long as I was, but I'm still very bullish, and I think we actually have earnings coming out now on the 9th. I believe it's the 9th. Let's just open the news up. I knew there was something in here about it. Yes, August 9th, after hours. Fantastic. So I'll be following PLBY still, but perhaps a little less until we get a big move or earnings come out. On earnings, of course, I'll do a report. I might even stream. I don't know. This is getting too long. I got stuff to show you on SPY too, so I'm going to edit that in here. And not sign off, I guess, but I didn't do it in the other video, which I'm going to put... Happy trading.